Welcome back everyone to another Python tutorial. Today we're going to be going over booleans and if statements. So we're going to jump right into the video. Okay. Booleans are just another type of variable, and essentially they just mean true and false. You're assigning a value of true or false to a variable. So that's pretty much all you need to know for booleans, and you'll see more as to how important booleans are when we come to if statements. Okay, we're going to open a new file, Python file. I'm going to call this one if statements. Okay, so basically what an if statement is, you're basically telling Python, if statement is true, then run this program, this action. And that action can be a function, like we learned in the last video. You can tell it to do print an object, or other things. So for example, if I say if 1 plus 1 is equal to 2, print true. And if we run the file, oops, .py. I spelled it wrong, of course I did. If statement, what did I mess up on? Let me just try rewriting it. If statement.py. Oh, that's strange. Oh, it's because I placed it in the wrong place. Created it in the wrong folder. So if you're working in PyCharm and you see I just made that mistake of adding a new file to the wrong folder, you can just click the file and just drag it into the folder you want it to go into. So let's run that again. There we go. And you see it gave us true. The same can be done with variables, as always. Let's say numbers equal to 2. A variable called numbers equal to 2. Now if we say if numbers is equal to 2, print true. And you'll see it will print true again. Now when comparing two values or two variable types, we use the double equal sign. Single equal sign means assign a value to this variable. Double equal means you're comparing and giving a boolean. So you can see that the only way this was able to run is if this statement above was true. And that's why booleans are so important, because without booleans you wouldn't be able to run if statements. Booleans are the key to comparing different variable types. Another thing you can do with Python is you can compare two different variable types. You can make two Boolean comparisons, I should say. So if we say create another variable called num, or let's call this one numbers 2, call it number 3, and we assign it a value of 3, and we say if numbers is equal to 2, the first variable we made, and number 3 is equal to 3, print they both work. And you can see both work. So the AND function just compares, only allows the if statement to work if both numbers is equal to 2 and number 3 is equal to 3. So the AND operator actually looks for both parts of the statement to be true. And you can take a guess, the same thing works with OR. So we're going to say if numbers is equal to 2, or number is equal to 3, print either would work. As you can see, either would work. And I can even prove to you that this works. If we change number 3 if we said if the variable numbers is equal to 2 and the number 3 variable is equal to 4, and we can obviously tell that the number 3 variable is equal to 3 and not 4, this statement will still run because one of the values did return true. As you can see, it did work. The OR operator looks for one part of the statement to return true. If one of them returns true, then it will run. And there's one final operator we need to know about, and it's the not operator. So we can say if not numbers 3 is equal to 2, equal to 2, print true. So printed true. Basically what we did was saying if number 3 is not equal to 2, then run the following function. And there's another option for writing not if it looks too confusing for you. You can also write if number 3 does not equal to, print this works as well. As you can see, it also worked. This option is actually used a lot more often in programming. The only reason why Python is so great for beginners is because it changes complex operators into just words that we know. We know and is looking for both parts of the if statement is true, or is looking for either part of the statement to be true, and not is obviously looking for the statement is not true. So if it returns false, then run the function. Okay, so let's get on to the next part. So what happens if we want to do something like this? So let's say let's create a variable called play sports, and let's set it equal to, let's assign the value true to it, and let's also make another variable named good at sports, and let's assign the value false and say we're not that good at sports. If we say play sports is equal to true, if we say if play sports is equal to true, print we want the double equal sign, not the single. Print you play sports. If good at sports is equal to true, print you're good at sports. And finally, if play sports and good at sports is equal to true, print you're amazing. Actually, we're going to change good at sports equal to false. Equal to true. As you can see, it ran if play sports equal to true and said you play sports. It ran through this one and said you're good at sports, and it says you're amazing. We went through this one and said you're amazing. But what happens if we want them to run all together and say if you're good at sports and you play sports, just say you're amazing and ignore the rest of them? This is what we would do. We would use elif statements. So let's repeat this again, or let's just use this continue off of this one. So elif essentially just says, if the first statement is not true, try this next statement. And we're going to say if play sports is equal to true, print you play sports. And and you can run the elif statement as many times as you want. So we're going to run it one more time and say if the first two statements aren't true, then run you're good at sports. And when we run it, you can see it just stopped at you're amazing because these two statements were true. So the way it works is that if the first statement, this full if and elif, all those statements combined, Python will continue to run them until it gets to a true statement. So in this case, play sports and good at sports were equal to true, so it just stopped at you're amazing. If we change good at sports equal to false, you're going to see it just stops at play sports because we're not good at sports, so we just skipped that function. It just skipped that if statement and went to play sports. It saw that that was equal to true, and it just said you play sports, but it never actually ran this one because it stops at the first correct true statement. And I can even prove that to you by changing play sports to false. Oops. Okay, and setting good at sports equal to true. And it just stopped at you're good at sports. One shortcut in Python is actually not even having this equal sign. This double equal sign is actually used when you're comparing integers or floats or strings or other variable types. If you know that you're just comparing booleans to each other, we can actually just say this. We're going to create a variable. I'm going to set it equal to true. And if I say, we can actually say if var print this is an option. As you can see, it ran perfectly fine. So Python automatically knows it's automatically running if variable is equal to true, then run this. But this is just a shortcut you can go with. And same thing goes with the not statement. So if I say if not var print this is another option, we're going to say var equal to false just so we can see that it's true. And you can see it worked perfectly fine. So that's pretty much all you need to know about booleans and if statements. I hope this was very helpful to you guys. Leave a like and subscribe. If you have any questions, post them in the comments and tell me what I could have done better. Thank you.